we get paper. But you know we party hard later. Mr. Flex and Papa got the old city lock with the girls in each and every area. Stepping NLC with no chaser.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night, depending on where in the world you are joining me from. I am Alluminati, and this is the Crypto and Cognac podcast show, as always, powered by alt.com, the one-click crypto wallet for WhatsApp, Telegram, and Discord, and as always, fueled by Hennessy TT. I'm having myself some VSOP. It's been one of those kind of weeks in the crypto space, so I might have a few glasses. And I'm also having a super dope conversation with an amazing gentleman who I got a chance to connect with, break bread with, have a drink with, and get to know recently. And I'm very excited for you guys to meet him, for you guys to get to know him. And I want to introduce you guys to Mr. Varoun's Vlogs, as he's known in the space, better known to his family and friends as Varoun Hanooman. And Varoun is a guy doing amazing things, representing the Caribbean all across the world. Let me tell you a little bit about that. Varoun is currently pursuing his PhD in electrical and electronic engineering at Trinity College, Dublin, not to be confused with Trinity College, Trinidad and Tobago. He is also the recipient of a Google-funded scholarship and conducts public research for Google and YouTube. He's currently one of the core team members of Doodles NFT, one of the biggest NFT projects in the world. And he's especially known for his technology that he developed with scaled generative animation. And he was the first person to do this. He is currently working on an NFT project with the 7-time Grammy Award-winning Federico Vinver, who has worked with Kanye West, as well as many other big names. Varoun, welcome. I feel like I have to say welcome back.
Honestly, it's refreshing. It's good to do a little warm-up session, and I think we just right. Within because of the crypto market right now, I like the ability to run it back.
Yeah, we got to keep running it back over and over. But Varoun, let me give you the opportunity to introduce yourself, because I'm sure my introduction doesn't do your journey justice. So for the people looking on who don't know you, for those who think they know but have no idea, tell us about yourself. Tell us how you got involved in the crypto space. Tell us what you're doing now.
All right, so I'll give you the spiel. As we mentioned, I started in electrical engineering at the University of the West Indies, and that was back in 2012. And essentially, in that zone, you're in technology, you're seeing on a low level how hardware works, and you come across Bitcoin a few times, and you hear about it, this magic internet money, and you're just not clear how it fits into everything. Is it a database? How could you change the information? You hear about wallets, and it's quite confusing. But my eyes was on it, especially, so it died from 1,000 to 200. That was back in 2013. Right. So in my head, I'm like, okay, well, that's prices again. Yeah, well, in your head, you're just like, oh, well, that's the end of that. And then you see you go from 250, 300, 400, 500. By the time I graduated now, it's at 1,000, right, in 2016. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, this is interesting. And at that time, when I graduated UE, I had started a tech company. I was doing software contracts for building software for various companies. And then what happened is, while in that phase of my life in entrepreneurial work, I came across a video talking about how to make money on the internet. And it's whenever you see a video about making money on the internet, it's like 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100 is a scam. But I had to see what it was all about. So at that time, I had a 980 Ti graphics card from NVIDIA. And they said, through the calculator online, it said I would make about $5 a day. And I'm like, $5 a day, that's some good money. So I hooked up my graphics card to a program called NiceHash, and I was running it, making that $5 a day. At the end of the month, I'm like, okay, well, I guess I have, Bitcoins, I guess. And you have to cash it out to a wallet. Okay, well, I don't have a wallet. I need to go on Coinbase, create a wallet. I create a wallet. I'm like, okay, I'm not too sure what this is. Send the money across. And then at that point, I'm like, okay, well, I could sell this now for US. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting. So I run the calculations and I realize, okay, well, if I buy enough GPUs and I do enough mining, I can make a lot of money. And at that time, the most profitable mining was Ethereum. And I'm like,
Right.
okay, well, I'm diving headfirst into that. And
Right.
I actually, at that time, I had tried to put up with about 5 friends to buy mining rigs to do mining. And 3 of the friends pulled out last minute. They say, they don't have
Yeah.
the 2,000 to spare, right? Because if it was 5 by 2, it'd be 10,000, and we have
Right.
enough money for it. So it was just me and one other guy, and I'm like, okay, we just split it half and half. We go in, we split all the profits half and half, easy. And then he flew abroad, got all the parts for me. We ordered it, bring it down in a duffel bag, assemble it, and then I went to like a hardware, and we had to build the entire mining rig out of iron parts and stuff, because you need
Right.
to have the GPU well spaced. And we mined for a long time. I don't want to say how much we made, but we made a decent amount of each. And
Yes.
it even wasn't worth that much, because the highest price it ever went to was 1,400, whereas within the last year or two we've hit close to 5K. So, and we believe it's gonna hit 10K. So I believe there's a lot to go. So I'm in that mining game, and then I need to go across to do my masters, and I can't manage a mining rig down here, so I sell the mining rig for the same price I bought it. So essentially, all crypto is profit.
Yeah.
And then I head off to study abroad. And I think around the time I was studying abroad, which was 2018, the start of 2018, crypto crashed. And I'm like, okay, well, everyone is just like, you should just sell, take your profits. And I'm like, nah, there's no need. I understand the technology, and I think there's a lot of room to grow, but I'm not an expert by any means. I'm still learning. 2018, I'm doing my master's in electronic information engineering, and that's specifically to do with machine learning and AI. So I get my master's in that 2019. Come around 2019 to 2020, I'm now getting back into my business and doing consulting again in Trinidad, and then COVID hits. So you can't do anything. Everything is closing down. It's pretty difficult to meet people, and I'm like, okay, well, this is a terrible time to be starting and running businesses with that amount of risk, right? I'm still doing it, but I'm like looking at different opportunities. And then I reached out to my university about references and stuff, and they told me there's the PhD program is willing to take me if I want to interview. I interviewed. The professor said they were willing to extend the scholarship and the opportunity to me to start the program, specifically in video compression and working with Google and YouTube. So yeah, that was 2020. I went across to Ireland again. So that's where I did my master's and now do my PhD. Right. And but it was much different from my master's, because now you're locked up in a room, you're doing everything in COVID state. But I push, you have to push through. Correct. In my head, it's a sacrifice, and it was a sacrifice because they locked down the country. I had a lot of family and friends that got married. I couldn't fly back in. I messaged the government, begged them to fly back in. No response. Eventually, I did get back in, but that's just how it goes. And then, so 2020 to 2021, I'm just like, still getting back acquainted with crypto. Crypto is pumping. I'm like, okay, let me learn some more. And I understand crypto. And then I understand this new space with artificial intelligence and video compression, video in general, the video format, signal processing, media processing. And then along comes this space of NFTs. And I've been hearing about NFTs for a long, long time. Since 2017 with CryptoKitties. And I was always like intrigued that it's something interesting, but I wasn't sure if the gas fees ever justify the price of having an NFT. Because it seemed kind of just like just a picture, and I didn't get it. And then one of my friends that I got into crypto made a bunch of money minted NFTs. And when I saw that, I'm like, I'm sitting on all my crypto, not actively using it. And other people are just doing some quick mints, making boatloads of money. And I'm like, okay, I need to get into the market. So I'm flipping through OpenSea, just looking at NFTs, and I'm like, this is trash. I would never show somebody this. I would feel offended if I showed somebody this. Like, I'm just like trash. And then scrolling through, I came across Doodles, and the artwork, to me, it's just so simple, so clean. It was really easy for me to see that it was one of the most brandable artwork. A lot of IP could be built around it. I did more research. I saw the artist was Burntus, and literally he has been doing art for years. He hasn't started NFTs to do art. He's been doing art, and NFTs is a new outlet for his art, right?
Correct.
Then there's Jordan Castro, known as Poopy. He was like, you know, a OG back in 2013 with Bitcoin. Then he was with CryptoKitties building parts of that. Then moved to Dapper Labs because with Top Shot, and so he's super experienced.
OG on the NFT space.
Even the crypto space, because in Bitcoin he was doing stuff with buying and selling like in-game items and stuff in like MMOs and stuff with Bitcoin. So he's been, you know,
he's been around.
He's been around, and he's been trying to find a way to really allow the purchasing and selling digital items to be, you know, a great experience. So he's been around, and he's learned a lot in his years. And then there's Tulip, also known as Evan Kess, and he's like a genius marketer. He's been running with Dapper Labs as well. So they all came together and started this project called Doodles. And it was super interesting to me because the artwork is dope, the team is dope, and then they did this interesting community treasury where the royalties were split. So half goes to the founders and half goes into what you could call a doodle bank, right? And this doodle bank, the community, each doodle gets a vote on how they spend that doodle bank. And to me, I just thought that was a super interesting concept. You know, I love all the aspects about it. And I'm like, okay, if I'm going to risk it, I'm going to buy into something interesting. And I thought this was interesting. So, you know, I forked out 2.3 ETH, which at that time was, I think, around like 10,000 US. ETH was expensive. Yeah, ETH was way bigger back then. And so yeah, I bought the doodle, and I even messaged like from my friends and family, and I'm like, I'm gonna do this. So if I lose a lot of money and they see me sad, yeah, that's why, right? That's like what, 70,000 TT, and then yeah, so I'm like, if I'm gonna do NFTs, I'm gonna do it right. So I'm like in Twitter, I'm on Discord, I'm in Twitter Spaces, I'm literally every single day hammering it home, trying to figure out, okay, how does the space work? Why do people value this? Where does the price come from? What's buying? What's selling? You know, there's this. It's like a super interesting ecosystem. And then when I spent enough time, I realized, okay, this is not a piece of like picture. This is a brand. This is a startup company. These are the next IP that's going to replace The Simpsons, Rick and Morty. It's just a new phase of doing IP and branding media. So then I started to get it. I'm like, okay, I need to buy more. And I started buying more doodles, right? So I'm like, okay, this is going to be
you're still solely a doodles man.
Yeah. Just accumulating doodles because I see in the value, right? And then the founders were looking for someone to help them build a technical aspect, what they call a technical artist. They put out a tweet, and because I've been active in the community, tweets immediately come up, and I just comment, and I'm like, I do my PhD in a similar field with video and stuff. So if you want, I could try to give you guys advice on, you know, how that stuff works, right? Poopy messages me, Jordan, and they kind of describe what they want to kind of do. And I'm like, okay, no problem. Let me just scope out how that would look, you know. I kind of design a flow chart on how that would look. They interviewed with me, and they were like, this all sounds super amazing. Could you build it? Right? and that time I was doing my PhD. Well, I'm still doing my PhD, but I was just like, I don't want to take on more work than I could, you know, attempt. But here's what I'll do. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, okay, give me like 2 weeks. Let me see if because I have a lot of, because I've been doing video compression and video work for a while, I would have built like a library of functions and stuff beforehand. So I kind of knew I could do it, but I still don't want to sign off on delivering something, right? So I told them, give me 2 weeks. Let me see if I could just like stick together my work, and if it pulls together, we'll do it. So I took the time. I built it in the MVP, and I'm like, okay, you know, I could do it. Let's rock and roll, right? And then from there, it's been just every single day we've been cranking out work. It's like we go basically into Burnto's mine, Scott's mine, and he pulls out the art, all these ships. Then it goes to Alfie. Alfie takes these static ships and then converts them into animation. So how does a doodle move? How does a ship move? What does that look like? And then from that, there's this guy named John Bowers, amazing music guy, just like Alfie, amazing animator. So he looks at that animation and he's like, this is what this sounds like, right? And he synthesizes new sounds. And then what I do is Alfie makes all the foundational pieces of the spaceship. And then John makes all the components of the sound. And then I would get like a trait like stars or maybe a certain thruster. And I would have to get the visual trait and the audio trait. So if you see or hear something, it will match the metadata trait.
Right.
And then I built let's say a pipeline, a video processing pipeline that takes all those
video. Give it all away.
Yeah, it takes the video and audio, combines them, smacks them together, and that's how you get Space Doodles. So yeah, and I people don't even know I use machine learning in there, or augmented reality, because there's a lot of stuff to get out right. And then once we got it going, we cranked it out a few times, found any bugs in terms of the artwork and stuff. Once we were super happy, we launched, and it's been pretty successful. It's been well received by the community, and a lot of people see it as a standout position where Doodles could show a way to dilute, but in a non-dilutive way. So every Doodle got a Space Doodle, and you could swap in between both. And this adds to the lore and more. Let's say, yeah. So those are what they look like. And if you play them, I don't know if the audio will come across, but they make music and sounds. And right, John actually.
No, go ahead. Keep talking.
Yeah. So and if it loads and you could click play, you could hear some of the music. And John actually crafted them in such a way that they're perfect 5-second loops. And if you play them back to back with other Space Doodles, you could make music.
That is actually kind of dope.
Yeah.
So this is super interesting to me. I mean, and I mean, you said something like, and it's been kind of successful for us. It's doing okay. It's doing okay. The floor price is almost 20 ETH in what we know is a down market. So I mean,
yeah, in a down market,
helped these guys achieve something, and let me just clarify here: the proprietary technology that you've created is being able to synthesize or do generative work in animation.
Correct, because if you look at all other NFTs, it's static. They aren't videos, they aren't moving, and sometimes you get GIFs, but they aren't videos. And when I say videos, audio, video, because there's sound and audio. There's video and audio. Yeah.
That's actually very, very cool.
And if you want to get even more detail, you would notice, like in most NFTs, everything stacks in the middle. So all the faces, all the traits stack in one position.
Right.
But the doodle is actually moving. It's moving in the space.
Yeah.
So it's moving around the screen. So that's where the augmented reality part comes in. To track we have to do tracking to track the ship and put the doodle in the ship, and that doodle also moves around to in 3D space. So like there's a lot that's happening that that's part of the magic, because if you saw it as a technical product, well, then it would look less artistic.
Right. And I think this is what, for me, as someone who's becoming a fan of the Doodle project, and unfortunately I was stupid and I didn't get involved early, but this is where I could see this product, this project, this community branching out into games, into
TV shows,
movies, and it already has the look that kids respond to. So I could see a whole ecosystem around Space Doodles, around the Doodles project, around this whole thing. And for me, it's crazy that from sitting home tweeting, this is what you have been able to build out. And I wanna share something else, because I really
Mm-hmm.
found this to be super interesting, um, super engaging, and I really wanted people in the Caribbean, people from Trinidad and Tobago, young people, to really take note of something here. So this is Doodles' Instagram page, right? And Doodles has 58,000 followers.
Already verified.
Already verified. They are doing amazing things in the space, and they're following only 8 people. They're acting like Beyonce, right?
Yeah.
But when you look at let me get out of there. I wanna look at the people who they're following. I don't want. I'm already logged in.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this
They
messing
wanted
with
to
me?
choose your profile, you know, who you're
Ah,
sleeping on. Yeah.
uh, what I really wanted to show, that of these
Mm-hmm.
8 people, Varoun's vlog is one of the people that they're following. So
Yeah.
you're not just like a
Like a
random
contractor. Yeah.
contractor. You are actually part of the core team,
Mm-hmm.
right? And all of this started from responding to a tweet. And the point I want to really make is, how early the space is, how accessible the space is. Um, because crypto is one of those spaces unlike no other, where your access to people, leading teams, leading projects, heads of companies, you're literally one click away, one reference away. I mean, in my time in this space, my network of connections has grown exponentially, from not being able to talk to the manager of a business in Trinidad to to being on conversations with the CEO of Binance Africa.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy to me how much access you have in this space. So talk a little bit more about that, because I mean, Doodles is one thing, but you're doing other things in this space. I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
everybody and their mother reaching out to you right now.
I'll also preface that, I don't want to take all the credit for Space Doodles. It was a complete team effort. Amazing founders, amazing team members. Everyone pulled together like amazing work.
Yeah, the
It's
art,
not
everything.
represented art down to even the smart contract to do the swapping of the Space Doodles, which was done by West Coast NFTs. Like everyone's doing an amazing job, and under like the founders, John Castro, Evan Cass, and Scott, they just gave me a platform to innovate, and I'm so happy for that opportunity. And what are you, consistent with what you're saying is there are a lot of other people that are willing to give those opportunities
Yeah,
if you're willing to work hard.
100%, 100%. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of my relationships. I mean, yes, I was able to connect through people that I know from Trinidad, who've been in this space, who've connected me to other people in the region, who've connected me with other people. But a lot of my connections have just been through engaging with people on Twitter, engaging with people in the different communities, and then
Mhm.
being able to take my experience, my qualifications, my education from what I was doing in the traditional space, and bring it to the crypto space, and be able to bring value to projects,
Mhm.
you know?
And I'd add that these things are like almost a snowball effect, because
Yeah,
like I've been doing work with Doodles, other projects have either reached out to me or Doodles have introduced me to people in other projects. That's how I'm doing this project with this Grammy Award winner. I wouldn't say too much because we're still rolling out the information with regards to
right.
that, but it's the opportunity to use that pipeline again. It's not the exact same. Obviously, you have to like change around things to work
Yeah,
with each the different animation and different type of product you're building. But the idea is that if you work hard in a space and you build, let's say at an international level, you could be
yeah,
anywhere in the world, but you can build at an international level. People will seek you out, And we're so early to the space. I just recommend people take the chance, be a beginner, pick up Solidity, learn how to build adapt. And the world will be yours in a few, because we had this conversation where I mentioned there was a time when people used to build websites, then people used to build apps. Now you don't see new apps showing up on the app store. The top 10 apps are kind of set, and that's going to happen with NFTs as well. The top NFTs are going to just become stagnant, and then there's going to be some other new space. And what you need to do is, while the iron is hot and we're in the Wild West, get some land, get in the land grab. And I don't mean metaverse land, but I mean,
and this is not financial advice. This is just
not financial advice.
Sharing from your experience.
Yeah, and as a builder, I'm speaking to you as a builder, not an investor,
not a speculator. But Varoun, one of the things that came up when we were talking and having drinks and whatever, and that I really wanted you to share. Like, everybody is hearing today about Varoun, the PhD student who has done his master's, who went to UWI, but there was a point in your life where none of this was expected of you.
Yeah. So I'll get into that. So from looking now, it might look like I'm a super successful person, but I was mentioning back in the day, like SCE, I didn't perform too well, and I passed for my third choice school, and then eventually, so I was in Couva Government Secondary, which is not a elite prestigious school, and then I did okay for CXC. But my mom, she was organizing for me to go into building cupboards. So I was going to become an apprentice for building cupboards, and that was my life. I was going to finish.
Now you're building NFT projects.
You wouldn't believe, to this day, my mom says she think I would make amazing cupboards. So, she still think I would be great either way. They were like people to push me to, like, I didn't have to go to university. They were like, a tradesperson is fine. Cupboards make a lot of money. So they were still happy, once you're doing something with your life. But
listen, right now I'm in the market. Right now I'm in the market to redo my kitchen, and finding a cupboard space is a tough job. Finding NFTs, moving NFTs with music is hard too. But I would like to have a good cupboard guy too.
100%. So I get coaxed because essentially my poor parents told me if I got a scholarship to UWI, they'd get me a car, and I used that as fuel to work really hard, and I sacrificed a bit, and I wrote like 5 subjects, I think, which would be 10 for the both units, and like I really pushed myself, and I got that. It was a science scholarship. I think it was additional. Then I went to UWI, and even when I was in UWI, I thought I made it, and I thought I was good, and I riding my high horse, and I feel like 2 courses. And then the government called, man, to say my GPA too low, they're gonna pull my scholarship, right? And I hear that, I say, nah. I dropped everything. I dropped all my friends. I put everything on pause, and I'm like, I have to focus 100% on getting my GPA back up. Next semester, all E's. So, once you put your mind to things and you have the right mentals, I think you could get anything. And I would always say it's super important also to be able to deal with falling off the horse and getting back on. Because when you're younger and you get accustomed to, things is happening, you need to pick back up yourself. Later on in life, when things happen, you really could deal with that. And I know a lot of people who, they've been so successful through their youth, and then when later in life they fell off the horse, it was too hard to get back on. They never had that muscle memory, that muscle training to just pick yourself back up and say, as always, fall long. But I think it was Denzel Washington that say, fall long 7 times, get back up, eat. You have to continuously push yourself.
You're ministering right now, bro. And I feel like it's so important of a message, especially right now, because we're in the point in the market, the crypto market, that some might call a major correction, some may call the bear market, and a lot of people have fallen off their horse as a result of it. And like you said, you have to just get back up, pick yourself back up, dust yourself off, and keep going.
Mhm. It's
So
a very speculative place, and again, like, because of non-financial advice, but you have to be very don't bet with money, don't play with money, you can't risk. So
right,
I took a huge loss on Azuki. I can't even tell people how much that was, because I got in at 33.3 ETH, and ETH was way more valuable than it is now. So I've been taking a huge L's. But
one
in
ETH
my
is equal to one ETH.
yeah, well, it's 8 ETH is the floor right now, so I ain't getting that to the 3.3 ETH back. But who knows? I'm not planning to sell it anytime soon. I know NFTs are a long game, and I just make some strategic choices. Sadly, that project had team members and founders that weren't too clear on their backstory.
Right.
We'll see how the market deals with that in a year, 2 years. If they continue building and probably prove to the market that they've learned and they've changed and they innovate, maybe we'll see. I'm not going to crucify them. I know, like you say, you fall in and get back up.
Yeah.
Although they've done some would consider soft frogs. So we'll see again how the market deals with that. At least I know, because I'm with Doodles and how legitimate they are, how they deal with like the entire project. I was telling you, Billboard.com, the CEO is stepping down from this billion-dollar company to become the CEO of Doodles, Julian. So it's so happy to have him on board and lead the ship. And he has 14 years of experience with
Yeah.
building brands and IP and music and stuff like that. So I know he's gonna blow Doodles out of the park.
And and that speaks very, very highly to what the long-term goal of that project is, where the founders really see the project. Because at the end of the day, no disrespect, he not leaving his job at Billboard to come and work for a charity and do charity work, right?
Yeah.
So they have clearly seen a vision for their project, and they're willing to invest in that vision. And he has bought into that vision as well.
He's investing his time. When you're that experienced, you have to be very careful where you spend your time.
Yeah.
And he's choosing to spend it in Doodles, which means he sees the value in Doodles. And I, obviously, because I'm in the back end, I see the vision. When they lay it out for me, I'm like, Doodles is going to be huge in 10 years. And when you get a chance to sit on a rocket ship, you don't really ask for which seat. You just strap on and you go to the moon. So I'm glad I'm working with a project like Doodles, and I'm glad to continuously innovate in space. There's more to come in Doodles, and there's more to come in general. And I'm literally just here. There's more Doodles projects that hasn't even been created yet.
Right.
So now is the time to start learning and getting in, because we're so early to the game.
You mentioned something there that really triggered something in me. You were saying, he's investing his time, and he's not gonna invest his time if it's not something that he believes in, and that kind of case. But for people coming into the space, people who coming in from not an investment side, but from a work side, people who looking to build in the space, what would you say, or what would you advise that person as it relates to their reputation, putting their name behind something? Because we both have experience where it's easy to get that check, right? It have plenty people who want to give you that check to put your name on something.
Right.
What's your perspective there?
In this space, and in any space really, your reputation will always precede you in a long game. And when I say long game, I'm referring to game theory, specifically with something called tit for tat. But the idea is that whenever you're in any of these, let's say, career building activities, you wanna play the longest of games. You wanna be working with high quality individuals, because when you work with high quality individuals, they will always recommend you and if they start something new, they seek you out, and you wanna have a high reputation, and you don't wanna let's say make like $1 million, but lose the opportunity to make 10 or $100 million because you were too short-sighted. What you really want to do is do high quality work and have a high reputation, and ensure that anything you touch or connected with is totally clean and above board, and then you just keep innovating. And I think you would go for a long time. And And even stuff, a lot of people will hear innovating and think, okay, well, you have to be able to write code, you have to be in tech. But any company need accountants, they need lawyers, they need moderators, they need PR people.
They need business development people.
All these projects are
Marketing.
just businesses, and all
Correct.
these businesses needs legs. So people need to realize that you don't have to be an engineer or a programmer per se to be in this space.
So let me ask you a question. I mean, you would have had friends who you would have gone to, you would have gone to high school with, who you would have done your masters with. What has been the response like? Have you had, like people approaching you and being like, yo, how do I get involved in this crypto space from a building perspective? Or has it been like people like watching you like, how are you actually getting paid? Like, this is real? Like, do you have a real job?
Is a lot of I would say negative pushback. A lot of people believe it's like money laundering or fake money. There's a lot of pushback or in terms of the entire space or mainstream people right now. I've got a lot of pushback in Europe. A lot of people that I do work with, they kind of pan it off as a waste of time or a waste of their time. But in my eyes, you're always crazy until you're a genius. So yeah, that's in anything. Even when the guys who were building Apple, the people who were building Google, the people who built Uber, at one point in time, jumping into a stranger car and them dropping you somewhere was ludicrous until it become the norm. Until it's crazy now to think you'll land somewhere and then phone up a cab company and tell them, okay, well,
put your thumb up and or go outside and look for the yellow cab.
So that's what happened. The norm changes, and then everybody responds, and either you want to be late or you want to be early. And I'm an early guy. I try to do pattern recognition, similar to how machine learning does pattern recognition. But what I saw is when you look back at email addresses, a long time back in before 2000 in the 1990s, there's a clip of this guy on news, and he's talking about NBC at blah blah blah, and he's just like, it doesn't make any sense, right? And now we could look back and be like, yeah, well, how could you not have an email address? For somebody to not have an email address is like a crazy person. They just don't exist, right?
Yeah.
And I'm saying that, and at that time, the penetration of email addresses were low. So you couldn't have platforms saying, okay, well, log in with your email address and sign up. The whole sign up process was messed up. Communication, you couldn't send an email, and therefore the internet could only grow at so fast. The applications you could build on the internet is only so slow. And right now we have the same situation with wallets. The penetration of wallets are very low. But over time, more and more people are gonna have wallets for all kind of various reasons. And then once wallet penetration increases, there'll be a flip, just like email addresses, where you're crazy to not have an email address. I'll give you a scenario where you could find somebody who's not into crypto getting a wallet. And there was one of my friends, he was going to buy a wedding ring, right, in the States. And he's looking through, to buy the ring. And he told them this is his budget. And then he told the guy, but if you guys accept crypto, this is my budget, twice or three times the budget. And the man say, well, just convert it to US and then buy the ring. And he say, that's too much hassle. That's 5 days transfer. He not going through that. If you have a wallet, he'll send him the ETH and you're good. If not, well, this is the budget he'll stick with. The guy open a Coinbase wallet, collect the ETH, convert it, and then now that guy becomes part of the ecosystem. Yeah. There's a lot of people who are going to be locked out of the system. There's like sex workers who are doing, let's say, OnlyFans and stuff, and the Visa cards are being stopped, Patreon, all this drama. And then slowly these people will have wallets. And then people who are buying their services will just get a wallet. And then what happens is the fringe background of people start getting wallets. And then someday you realize, well, I have a wallet and you have a wallet. So why send you a bank transfer when I could just send you, stable coins, ETH, whatever the case is. You're going to send some asset. And then you're going to realize, I rather hold everything on my wallet. Why even have a bank account? So that's what's going to play off in the next 10 years. And, clip it here. We'll check back in 10 years.
Clearly, this is a guy who studies and does pattern recognition. This is a guy who's thought this thing through. I mean, like I tell people all the time, I don't consider myself the brightest person, the sharpest tool in the shed, but there are people who are way smarter than me, like Varoun's vlogs, who I trust their input. I trust that they have done all the heavy lifting. And we are seeing more and more in the traditional financial space and even in the tech side, a lot more big brain people, a lot more people who are more reputable come into the space. Recently, um, Mark Zuckerberg had a conversation with Tim Bilyeu where he broke down why he's so passionate about Web3, why he's so passionate about the metaverse, and he has 1 billion friends. So I think he's gonna bring some of his friends along with him. You guys who might be his friends might want to decide at what point you want to get involved. Do you want to be early? Do you want to be the late majority, or you just
There's
want to be
nothing
late?
wrong with being the late majority, but what you do is you lose out on the opportunity of huge leverage in the game. When you start a career, you come in and they say, okay, we want 5-10 years experience. When you come to crypto, you can't even ask for 5-10 years experience. You have to be like, whatever you have now, let's translate that into crypto. So now you get to come with a clean slate, become hardworking, and then build your reputation, build your experience. So that's like a new let's say a new meta being created, in terms of what they call in gaming, not metaverse. And then there's a time when that will no longer be the case, and that will be something else will come up that we haven't even thought of yet. And
Yeah, I mean, and that's a good point, and that's something that we spoke about when we were catching up. Like in crypto, it doesn't really, it might, but it does not hold as much weight in terms of your degree, your grades. They want to know, can you do it? Did you do it? Can you do it for me? And crypto is a space where you have to prove yourself. So whether you are a high school dropout who learned Solidity on your own via YouTube, if you can code, you get the job.
Yeah. Execution is everything in this game. Once you could execute, people will find you.
So I'm gonna take this opportunity to allow you to leave a little tidbit for our friends and fans on Instagram. So I'm gonna play the clip. You're gonna leave us with what you consider to be your most important tip or tips for people getting into the crypto space, either from an investment side, from a building side, from a learning side.
Let's see. A good
share the nuggets.
Funny enough, I will go with something super basic that's not even tech related, and it's a quote from Aristotle. And to this day, it's continuously rattled around in my mind, and it's you are what you do every day. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. And to just kind of delve into that, it's like people would see me and be like, oh, I'm successful, or like, he just got lucky and Doodles messaged him. But I had a habit of continuously seeking out opportunities, continuously networking, trying, building stuff for free just to see, continuously writing up MVPs, how you would build it, trying stuff. And what happens is if you do it long enough, persistence guarantees that results are inevitable and you will get there. So that's some nuggets right there. And it's not super tech based and it can be applicable to any industry.
I love that. Persistence guarantees that
results are inevitable.
That results are inevitable. Guys, that is your Crypto Caribbean TV tip with Varoun. So Varoun, so tell us what's next for you. Like what are, not necessarily like what you're working on, even though you could go there. But what are you most excited about in this space? What are you most excited about the evolution of this space?
I'm actually excited in well, you could even consider it like a extreme end of crypto where we get to the point where your ID card could be almost an NFT, or maybe a passport as an NFT, and then we could use that to vote, and we could change how like democracy happens, or or ensure that voting democracy happens properly. And I see how voting happens on something like Snapshot, for Doodles, and there's various ways it could be configured or maybe made better. But the idea is that because it's on blockchain, you could provably, let's say, be sure of like the truth of how the voting happened.
Right.
And there's a lot of, let's say, exploration still in terms of how that would work if your passport was stolen or your wallet was stolen. There's a lot of things still to be fixed. But I know over time this technology will allow us to really change the way we live our lives, and then it might get back to the point where you can have that road in front of your house fixed, so
Right.
finally making full circle.
So
And
as you talk about the road in front of your house fixed, a question that I had: what was the car that you got?
the card.
The car.
Uh-huh,
Did you get the car?
Yeah, I got a car. It was a pretty expensive car, but it was a Master
Listen,
Tree, a white
listen,
Master Tree.
Listen, you're disrespecting me because I have a Mazda 3. I have a
No, that's
Mazda
what I'm
3.
saying. It was a good car. I love that car. I drive it for a long time, and the whole of UE I had that car. And if anything, when you go to UE and you have the car, everybody gonna ask you for a drop. So you probably don't want to let people know you have a car.
Listen, especially not in these times where gas prices are where they are.
Oh Lord! I
Nobody
just
gets.
pulled up earlier today, and it was 300 to fill up the X Trail, and I can't believe it's 300 because I remember I only came back into the country a couple days ago, and yeah, no, I can't wait to leave.
back to your Ubers.
Back to Ubers. I mean, that's quite expensive as well. I was telling you how much flying I have to do. I have to fly out to San Diego to meet to do present at AOM, and then to meet with my team in Google. I have to go back to Dublin. I have to go to NFT NYC. So it's a very hectic life. I'm glad we got time to meet up, and once I have the opportunity to meet with trainees and help them get into this space, I'd love to do that. I love to network as well with anybody who need. You can reach out to me on Twitter, Varoun's Vlogs.
Right.
It will be the same as on the screen. You could find my YouTube channel. Back in the day, I used to post a lot of videos on crypto and doing my breakdown, so you can see how I think about it. I haven't gotten to post one anytime recently because I've just been so busy.
Life.
But I might get back to that soon. And then you can reach out to me on Instagram as well. So I'm highly accessible right now, but I don't know how long that accessibility might stay. So reach out to me now while I
do it now, guys.
Yeah.
So I mean, I look forward to us connecting at we're gonna link up in New York. We're gonna definitely link up in New York and have a good time. I know a few more trainees.
I have to get into the Doodles party, I need to get into the Doodles party,
Yeah, I mean, let these guys know. Let me get to meet these guys, burn toast, and these guys who doing amazing things in the background. I mean, when I went to NFT Miami, it was amazing being able to interact with those people in that space.
It's honestly a crazy experience. Like you said, the access, you have these multi-millionaires and billionaires just shaking hands with everybody because it's honestly a cool scene, a cool vibe. And I was telling you, the parties they throw are insane. The last Doodles party, it was Diplo. You have to have a doodle to enter, and it's like unlimited free drinks. So the NFT people get crazy wild.
I just have one question. Did they have Hennessy?
Probably at that point, I just remember I was double fisting. Anytime you see me, I had 2 drinks in my hand.
Like a true trainee.
Every time people meet me, I always say I'm not like an Indian. I'm not like some kind of Indian tech guy. How to have the
You're not from India. You're not from Pakistan.
I tell people I'm from the Caribbean, and I say you're gonna see my true Caribbean colors. I say I might get a bottle of rum and I might be lying down somewhere. So that's how as lying. I am a very big party guy.
Nice, man. So Varoun, I mean, I appreciate you taking the time out. I know it's been a hectic day. I know it's a hectic period in the space, and crypto is a space that moves faster than the speed of light. And you're doing some amazing things out there. So really continue to rep the Caribbean, rep the Trini, the red, white, and black. Keep doing your thing. Anybody you want to shout out before you jump out?
I think if I was to shout out somebody, it's really my parents. You know, they've been, you know, around me for a long, long time, and they've not always been so happy with my choices and the amount of risk I incur, but they've truly been a pillar in terms of getting me to where I needed to be and always being a support system. And I'm super glad I have parents like that, and you know, I just wish that anybody else who, you know, takes this kind of risky venture, they also have support as well.
Blessings. I appreciate you tremendously. I look forward to touching base again soon. Yeah.
Soon.
Guys, thank you for being with me. Thank you for being with us. Thanks, Varoun, for coming through. And as I say always, adoption is inevitable, and it seems more and more inevitable as each episode passes. Alluminati out.